California's roads just got a D grade, nearly one-third in poor condition, and the state ranks worst nationally for urban highway congestion. Drivers lose over 100 hours a year stuck in traffic. That's real time, real money. TRIP estimates $55 billion a year in lost time and wasted fuel. So here's the problem. We've spent billions. SB 1, the 2017 gas tax, has pumped around $5 billion a year into transportation. This month alone, $1.1 billion was approved for zero-emission transit, storm repairs, safety. And in 2025, the state announced nearly $5 billion more to fix streets highways fund alternatives. Yet our pavement still crumbles, and the ACE says we're staring at a $70 billion shortfall over the next decade. Where is the money going? Some of it is real. Storm damage repairs safety projects checks to 600 local governments, but parts get delayed. Budget moves pushed billions in transit dollars down the road. Meanwhile, the state's own policies to cut emissions mean gas tax revenues shrink by roughly $4.4 billion over the next decade. Fewer gallons sold, less money for maintenance, while costs rise from inflation and extreme weather. We're also paying in homes. Highway expansions demolished 623 homes and businesses since 2018, mostly in LA, while congestion still ranks worst. More lanes, more displacement, same gridlock. This is where the buck stops, with Governor Gavin Newsom. If we're spending at historic levels and still getting D roads, I want receipts. Line item transparency on every dollar. Project performance scorecards, independent audits, public, searchable, updated quarterly. And let's stop pretending yesterday's funding model can pay for tomorrow's roads. The engineers are clear: move towards sustainable mileage-based user fees, protect privacy, fund maintenance as vehicles electrify. Prioritize fix-it first over expansions that bulldoze homes and don't solve congestion. Design smarter, safer, more resilient roads that survive storms and heat. I'm not asking for miracles, I'm asking for results. Governor Newsom, show us where the money went, and how the next dollar actually fills a pothole, not a press release. Because until that happens, we're all paying twice at the pump and again with our time.
Why are our freeways falling apart while budgets grow? Millions allocated, miles of Frankenstein pavement. Time to follow the money. For 40 years I've driven these roads, once paved in the 70s and 80s, now nothing but patches. Caltrans budgets show billions allotted each year, yet I drove 3,000 miles up and down the 515, 40, 405 and saw miles of shredded tires, 2-foot holes and stitched repairs. New cars mask it, but rigs and RVs feel it. Costly damage in the billions. Either funds were spent elsewhere, mismanaged, or worse, missing. Demand audits, show the receipts, and let's fix what's left.
Action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Stephen West, and welcome to Centerline News. If you're tired of right and left, if you're tired of all the stuff that you're hearing on the news, which is garbage on both sides, if you just want to step off for 5 minutes and learn what's going on from both sides and want to know what it's like to be an independent, to watch you guys make fools of yourself. So let's get into it. If you've just watched my little intro, you got a good idea that our roads, bridges are in bad shape. They haven't had any repair, any real maintenance for 20 years. Our bridges are dilapidated. And basically, I feel, based on all my research, based on even there's a lot of other pundits that believe Governor Newsom is taking our money, the tax money that's generated from the gas, that's supposed to go to keep our roads up to par. They're fourth world. That money is not being spent on our roads. Now, I've been on our roads in California for the last 30 to 40 years. I'm 60 years old, okay? I know when these roads were first laid. I know that from that time forward, they never were completely redone. It's called Frankenstein patchwork. And the whole United States is guilty of it. It seems like both parties are neglecting our roads, our bridges, our infrastructures, our towns like Desert Center off the 10 freeway. But we got plenty of money for wars, invading other countries, kidnapping presidents, playing, the game Age of Empire. That's what Trump is. Trump, like I said, I've got the utmost respect for the man. But look, he's old. He's going senile. He's trying to blow up the system. But I think he's going to blow up the world at the same time. He's totally gone off the deep end when it comes to all the other topics. But today, it's just about Gavin Newsom. And where's the money, Gavin? Where's the money? We know it's not been spent on the roads. I've got webcam footage from my dash cam the last 8 months, week after week, going up the 5, down the 5, through the 15 to Vegas and back. There's been no Caltrans. There's no money being spent on our roads. Where is it? Right? So if you've got a brand new $100,000 car, you're wondering why it's trash in 5 years, because of the roads. If you're a trucker, RVer, anybody in a big rig, our roads are gone. The right lane and every highway, the 2-lane, the right lane, it's almost got no more cement. It's just like dirt, like a dirt path, and tire shreds everywhere. So if you really need me to show you, like from Google Earth, then please just go do it yourself and go find somebody else that will patronize you. And you need that kind of stroking, because if you don't know, anywhere in America, our roads are dilapidated. You're probably a politician who just flies over and looks and goes, wee, things look great. Let's take all that money and pump it into our party. And that's what Gavin's done. Okay, you can't blame him. The Republicans are doing the same thing. They're taking all that money and they're making fake centers, elder centers, leering centers, and they're robbing us blind. They're the thieves, folks. It's open for everyone to see. And now all the cops, ICE agents, everybody that's protecting this really bad system, they got to come home to their wife and kids and justify why they're killing us. For who? Like I said, man, I'm going to try to make this video short and sweet. But Gavin Newsom, would you like to come on my program? We're going to talk for half an hour. We're going to talk about the roads and bridges. Let's bring me some receipts. Show me the money you've spent on Caltrans. Let me see the receipts of how many people you're actually employing. I think you're employing less than like 100 people, be honest. Okay, I've been up and down your freeways, homie. I've been up and down the interstates, homie. I don't see them. I haven't seen them all summer. So unless you just gave them all hiatus, that money's being diverted. Not only the money for the roads, folks, but the money to pay these people. So something sinister is going on, and Governor Newsom's behind it. So just like Tim Walz, you found out how much he was abusing his power. You now want to put someone like Tim Walz in power, someone like a Gavin Newsom in power. There'll be nothing left of America, folks. Time to step off. Both parties know they're the same monster, just a left or right hand. Both of you guys are the same people. You just decided to wear a blue t-shirt or a red t-shirt. You decided that you wanted to become a millionaire and work the other party, or you decided that you're going to then milk the system and drain the millionaires. That's the system, bros. So if you can't be honest with yourself, you're never going to fix it. You're just going to go into more and more debt. You're going to vote in more guys like Trump that are going to just flip the world on its head. We can't afford anything anymore. We're 40 trillion in debt. Our society has been dumbed down. It's not that smart. There have been all kids raised themselves in the basement, and now all they have left is McDonald's, fast food. Now, folks, do I need to make 1,000 videos to show you all across the United States the 19,500 home towns, and 19,000 of them are devastated, that all the money's been sucked dry once the big guys move in and they set up the shop, the big courthouses, the big re-education camps, the judges, the attorneys, the cops, they just come in like a blob. They set up shop. Everybody's got domestic violence by 3 days from then. They've got your houses. Everybody's sitting on the curb holding the fruit basket wondering what happened. Well, they came in, they took your jobs, they stressed you out, they caused you to fight, and then they came and arrested you. Meaning it's perfect cause and effects. I could show you the towns that have like the dog as a mayor, and they're running great. I can show you the towns that are devastated. And you got the names, the address, and phone numbers of the people that have gone from town to town to town to town and done it again and again and again, sucked all the resources out. They're called corporate 500 companies. Do you think you're going to have nothing but a small town with nothing but fast food chains? That money doesn't stay in the town. It goes back to the layer. You're going to have one Home Depot. You're going to have one Walmart. Where's the capitalism? Shh. The government doesn't want to tell you the game's over. Shh. One Walmart, one Amazon, one Star SpaceX, one of everything, folks. And yeah, because they got to lock down. And see, for government people that are looking to collect tax, it's a lot easier to hit it all up from Walmart than it is to have 1,000 stores. So the government promoted this stuff. The people that you stood in line for 8 hours, and you're going to stand in line 8 hours again, and then you're going to come on the internet wondering why you can't find work. Your kids can't find work. You can't even afford to rent a house. All you got left are fast food jobs, and you're too old, sweetheart. But you stood in line religiously for 4, 8, 16 hours to vote to destroy your life. So what can I do? The towns are gone. You got nothing but cities. You guys need to watch Monopoly. You'll see that there's nothing but big cities left and the big hotels going up, just like the Monopoly game. And you all are running around the board figuring out how you're going to get around with 200. Can I get around the board this week? Can I get around the board next week? No, you're not. But you're playing that game thinking you're going to win in a game that's already locked down, where all the businesses from manufacturing to retail to even Starbucks is closing. Meaning, see what happens, folks, is that you've stopped buying the Monopoly game. This whole generation has no idea. They've heard of it, but they've never played it. So they don't know it's designed to suck the life out of all the players and leave one winner. So when you openly sign up for that, which is the Republicans, I side with the Democrats, because you're all nuts, because you need workers. You need them. You need the Democrats to suck the life out of them so you could become a billionaire. You need to suck the life out of a lot of Democrats for one Republican to become a billionaire. The system don't work. Step off. Vote all independent, and the pain stops. But the minute that you still want to keep fighting for your team, and it's bad, and both teams are bad. See, it's like you can openly admit that the other team is bad, but you can't admit your team is bad, and you're equally as bad. You're doing just as... So the minute you step off, you're going to be like, how that person that's just spinning around, and they finally like, wow, what a high. And now you realize both these people, both Democrats and Republicans, are responsible for you being in 40 trillion in debt, 20 one side, 20 the other. And they're both laughing at you and your family. Why? Because they already know they got you. They know that they got a two-party system. And once you got a two-party system, it's easy. So all you're doing every time is picking the lesser of two evils. Which one is going to do more damage to the world, damage to the country? So, yeah, like I said, Donald Trump fooled everybody. He would have never won if you wouldn't have put someone like a Kamala Harris that had no children, that locked up people and women that had disabled children because she couldn't get the money from the state. See, once you realize it's all about getting this money, and you'll lock up anybody and anybody because it's the way you get the power, you can easily divert it through shell companies, and man, they'll try to even sue people like me, even mention it, but they won't. Why? Because I've got insiders. I've been an IT guy for 27 years, folks, in Beverly Hills. I know what they do, when they do it, and if they really want to push, guys like me will just open up the can of all the worms. We'll not even tell you what's going on with the road money. We'll tell you what's going on with all the tax money. We'll explain why all the businesses have been torn down and build condos, why everybody's driving around looking for work, can't find it. Look, 10 years ago, there was thousands of ads on Craigslist. Today, there's 2. You want to be a surrogate mother? Great. You want to be a CDL driver? Great. That's America's future. Surrogate mothers and what? CDL driver? Yeah. See, you've all been convinced that 20 years ago when we told you, hey man, no Home Depots, no these big companies, man, this is what's going to happen. They're going to come in and suck it all dry. And then once they can't support anymore, then the whole system collapses belly up. That's why Rome collapsed, the Aztecs. That's why all the history will teach you that once you believe in this never-ending growth, you buy into this shit. Now think about it. My mom and dad bought a house for $28,000. It was sold initially for probably $5 or $8 grand. It was already double valued. And then in one generation, it went from 28,000 to 2 million. Now, what? Now I'm going to sell it from 2 million and sell it for 5 million. And then somebody else is going to buy it for 5 million and then think they're going to sell it for 20 million. A 150-year-old home that's had so many works and problems. And no, you need to buy a new home. But see, you've bought in the fact that you're going to now, what, buy a $2 million home to then need to tear it down in 20 years, 50 years. And then, like I said, it was never designed to work. But you screamed. You threw things at people because you didn't want to believe that the government and the people that wined and dined you and brought you to Beverly Hills and gave you those Gucci gift bags, that they really had your interest at heart. Now the game's over, folks. You're all broke. The country's broke. Donald Trump, there's not going to be another president in history that ever visits the United States because of what Trump did. Who would want to come to America after Trump just kidnapped the president? He kidnapped the sitting president. He has destroyed America, folks. When you wake up and you realize what he just did, call me. Like I said, Donald Trump just destroyed the world by wanting that oil. He stole Syria's oil. He wants Venezuela's oil. He's a thief, folks. I'll leave you at this. Donald Trump said eloquently many times that he didn't want to become his brother. His brother was a total mess because he touched the power. He drank the alcohol. He couldn't control the power. So he just drank until he wrecked himself. The White House is the same power. So when Donald Trump told me his DNA can't handle it, he can't handle even a drink because he's too weak. He can't walk away from it. So think about that. Now you got the same guy that's dropped bombs on Soleimani, Iran. Literally, he's going to go down as the Caligula. And I know all of the Republican voters are going to cheer him out until they go to another country and you're now disposed of. See, what Donald Trump is cool. He's got his people, his entourage, the Air Force One. He's going to be protected every country he goes, but not you. You know, you think you're going to go to Venezuela again? No. You think you're going to go to Iran again? No. Syria again? No. You're going to go to any country that we bombed and just killed and slaughtered people? No. But see, they count on the fact that they've already got you down broke. You're not even going to pay your rent this month. You got to decide on feeding your dog or feeding yourself. So they know you're never going to have enough money to. So that's why they've taken you out of the game. And my thing is this, folks. It should be illegal to work for anybody. If you can't work for yourself and do something where you're completely independent, you do everything from the sales to the job to the billing, then you know what? The new world doesn't have a place for you because everything's going automated. The two jobs that are left, surrogate mother, there'll be a machine that you could put both people's DNA in, and boof, you're going to have a baby. So no more surrogate mothers soon. You've already got self-driving trucks. So with all the problem with giving these crazy people from around the world these CDLs, I've got like the next 3 months of literally like every truck tried to run me off the road. No cops to be found. These guys obviously, they jump out with slippers and the things on their head. I'm not going to make fun of them, but when you take someone that came from a third world country with no roads, you think they're going to come and abide by ours? So you guys have screwed things up. Like I said, the experiment, I hope, do you realize that the experiment ain't going to work for much longer? We're in serious trouble. The country's been hollowed out. We now are run by other foreign countries. There's no jobs for you guys. So I don't really know what to tell you except for you stood in line 8 hours, year after year after year, voting in these people that everyone screamed. Your pastors screamed, your parents screamed. If you allow these people to get in power, you're never going to get it back. As a pilot, I tell people, there's things called the cloud gods. So when you fly in the clouds, there's one rule. If you give your aircraft, like a pilot gives an aircraft to another one, my aircraft, your aircraft. If you give your aircraft to the cloud gods, they're never, ever, ever, ever going to give it back. Have a nice day, folks. The next video will be out in a couple hours.